Hello, good morning, friends, good morning, colleagues. My name is Dana Kudryavtseva. I am a brow master and I've been a brow master for more than 4 years. I am very happy to welcome you to this live stream today. And today we will talk about protein eyebrow reconstruction. We will also use the new BRONSUN cream dye provided by the wonderful Innovator Cosmetics. Today, we are going to do the tinting using cream dye. If you haven't heard about it, if you haven't used it, I would like to tell you that it is a fantastic product. We will talk about it in detail today, and you will see fantastic results that it gives. Everything developed by Innovator Cosmetics is firstly about quality, stability, happy clients. I primarily work with Innovator Cosmetics products, and all of my clients are more than happy with it. I am going to tell you about the advantages and the foundations of this procedure. This product, Protein Eyebrow and Eyelash Reconstruction, is a product that has been developed by Innovator Cosmetics and it is truly unrivaled on the market. This procedure addresses any issues with damaged eyebrows and eyelashes, for instance, after frequent tinting, unsuccessful lamination, or extensions. The procedure fully restores the structure of hair. It also stimulates the growth of hair and turns the hair into healthy and smooth hair. Let's talk about it in more detail. So, who is the ideal client for the reconstruction? If the eyelashes and eyebrows of your clients are dehydrated or weakened, if the procedure is beneficial for the hairs that have been damaged after frequent tinting, unsuccessful lamination, or unsuccessful styling, or any other chemical exposure. If your clients love long-lasting results of styling or lamination, but they don't want to wait for 1.5 to 2 months between the procedures, then you can do this procedure more often. So the effect from the reconstruction is very similar to eyelash lamination and long-lasting eyebrow styling. And now let's talk about the product stage by stage. So the first stage is the protein lift. This is a lotion. The active component of the first composition, cysteamine. This lotion penetrates the hair equally and it influences the disulfide bonds. Stage number 2 is the volume building lotion. This composition penetrates deeply into the hair and fixes disulfide bonds for a long time. It restores the hair, it strengthens the hair from the roots to the very tips because it is chock full of nourishing components. It also fixes the eyelash curve and it gives the eyebrows the desired shape and volume. The third stage is the grow serum. It promotes the growth of new hairs. It increases the volume of each hair by up to 30% after the first treatment. It can preserve the pigments in the hair and it can preserve the nourishing components and it can also be used in daily care at home. Also, the protein reconstruction kit, includes the cleansing lotion, which we do not use for the eyebrows, but we do use it so when we do protein reconstruction of eyelashes in order to gently remove glue residues from eyelashes and eyebrows and silicone pads from the eyelids. You will also find glue in our kit. We do not use the glue for eyebrows. We only use it in eyelash reconstruction. After the procedure, we will also use a fantastic product that is my favorite, and that is protein Botox. Now, that's an additional stage of eyelash and eyebrow reconstruction, and it is used for additional care, moisturizing, and nourishment of all eyelashes and eyebrows. So, this composition restores the damaged parts of the hair, and because of that, the eyelashes and eyebrows straight away start looking denser and more voluminous. It is a procedure with an increasing effect. You do not need to dilute it with water or wash it off if you do it right after the tinting procedure. Also, protein bodies is ideal for daily care at home. Right now, we will talk about the counterindications for this procedure. Number one, pregnancy, breastfeeding, inflammation, any sort of acne, or any wound in the eyebrow area. If your client has been to a cosmetologist the day before, it is also counterindicated, and it is also counterindicated if there is sensitivity to one of the components. We also have an additional step, which is eyebrow tinting. If you wish, you can carry out the eyebrow tinting procedure using the dye. You can use the gel dye, or you can also use the cream dye. This is a new product. So if your client wishes, you can tint the eyebrows after the first two steps. But you have to remember about one thing is that the exposure time to the dye should be reduced to 2 or 5 minutes maximum. Now, let's talk about reconstruction aftercare for eyebrows. So, you need to avoid getting the eyebrows wet for 24 hours. You need to avoid exposure to steam. Please warn your clients not to go to saunas or bathhouse for 24 hours. Do not mechanically affect the eyebrows. Do not rub them with a towel or sleep face down for 24 hours. Also, do not apply makeup to the eyebrow area for 24 hours. Do not use scrubs, peels, or alcohol based lotions in the eyebrow area for 48 hours. Do not use alkaline containing products for eyebrow cleansing and care. And do not tint the eyebrows with henna. Now let's talk about our products for home care. And these are the products for eyebrows. I will also show you our products for home care for eyelashes. So, number one, we have the eyebrow growth serum. We also have the eyelash growth serum. Protein Botox is another product which is ideal for home care. So, right now, I am going to answer your questions. What influences the lasting effect after protein reconstruction? Well, the long lasting effect only depends on the texture of the hair and on the speed with which the hair is renewed. The next question. When should we use the protein reconstruction? Well, you should use protein reconstruction if the hairs are weakened or dehydrated, but the clients really love long-lasting styling of the eyebrow. It is also useful if the client comes to you after unsuccessful lamination or long-term styling. The next question is, can we use protein reconstruction in order to correct unsuccessful lamination or long-term styling? I have a lot of clients who come to me after unsuccessful procedures. Yes, you can do it. Protein reconstruction was invented just for that. The next question. Does the protein reconstruction style the hair with the same success as long-term styling? Yes, these procedures are identical. They're very similar, but protein reconstruction has a much smoother and softer effect on hair. The fifth question is, how often can we use protein reconstruction? Well, protein reconstruction can be applied once every month. These were all of the questions. It is a fantastic procedure. It should be part of your arsenal, and your clients will be very happy with it. This procedure activates the growth of new hair. It strengthens the existing hair. It moisturizes, nourishes, and restores. I hope that I was able to answer your questions fully. And now we are going to have a very short break. Dear colleagues, we're going to start the new procedure, which is the protein eyebrow reconstruction. I will show you all of the products and compositions that I'm using, so please write everything down and you can use it in your work. First, we're going to cleanse the eyebrows using oil-free micellar aqua. This is the Miami brand micellar aqua with aloe vera and hyaluronic acid. This is a fantastic micellar aqua. I love using it in my work. It really cleanses gently and it does not cause any redness. So please post plus signs on the chat if you can see and hear me well. So we cleanse the area really well. Then we need to treat the area with a saline solution or with a special eyebrow shampoo. When it comes to scrubbing or peeling to prepare the eyebrow area, that is not allowed. So I will use the saline solution from BRONSUN. This is what it looks like. I'm going to apply a little bit onto the cotton pad, and then I'm going to smooth it over the eyebrow area very gently. My next step, we can brush the eyebrows, and then we're going to use the first stage, which is the protein lift lotion. I am going to use a single-use spatula to apply the lotion, and here you can see our protein lift composition, and I'm going to use a wooden stick top. And now I'm going to tell you about the exposure time. So I apply it very gently. Please pay special attention to the roots. And let's talk about the exposure time. If your clients have very porous, very thin hair, then the exposure time will be 15 minutes. If the thickness of the hair is about medium, or if this hair has been previously treated chemically, then the exposure time will be 20 minutes. I do apologize, it will be from 15 to 18 minutes. If your client has very dense, very thick hair, previously chemically untreated, then the exposure time will be 20 minutes. So I've applied the composition onto the eyebrow, and I'm going to move to the second eyebrow. Is everything okay? Do you feel any stinging? Everything's fine, no stinging. And we always cover the eyebrows with a plastic film, but do not press the film firmly onto the skin to avoid the steaming effect. My clients really love this procedure, and they always tell me that they have much better hair growth, and they also notice that the condition of the hairs is improved. So this is a must-have procedure for me. So I distributed it evenly. And now I am going to apply a plastic film. In this particular case, our model has very porous, very thin hairs. Therefore, we will not do the exposure of the composition for 15 minutes. And while we are waiting for the exposure, I would like to tell you about the gel dye and the cream dye from BRONSUN. So this is my favorite tinting brand, and it is my favorite because it gives a very good staining on the skin, especially in case of the gel dye. It gives us predictable results, it gives us very good shades, and it is super convenient to use. So the gel dye, it solidifies on the skin, it adheres to the skin like a film, and it gives us a wonderful effect of biotinting, which is very similar to tinting with henna. So it gives us a very, very good tinting on the skin. If your clients want more natural, more velvety tinting, then we use the cream dye. And I will show you. This is the cream dye. This is a new dye. It has a very good range of shades, and it gives us a much smoother effect on the skin when we're using it. So how do we decide which tint to use for which client? If your clients are into more graphic tinting, if your clients need to fill in the gaps in their eyebrows, or like I said, there is a more graphic, more vivid tinting, then we use the gel dye. If, on the other hand, your clients want more velvety, more soft tints, if they are into natural techniques, then we should move with the cream dye. And now let's talk about the shade. First of all, I would like to tell you that the gel dye is more warm compared to the cream dye. Bronson cream dye has more colder and more neutral shades. For instance, graphite shade in the gel dye has a more neutral, more warm feel compared to the graphite shade in the cream dye, which is colder but also a much brighter shade. So right now I'm going to remove the film. I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to brush the hairs. That's what I'm going to use. This is a baby brush. And I'm going to use it to very delicately brush the hair. This is how I check the effect of our composition, and I am going to brush the hair very gently. Look at it, it looks great. You can see that the hairs are getting permed at the same time, they're very nourished. And as a result, we will get the desired effect. I'm going to do the same on the second eyebrow. So we gently pull back the film and brush the hair. The most important thing is you're brushing upwards. So we put the film back on and we continue with the exposure. I would like to remind you that the first composition gives us a very smooth and delicate effect of the disulfide bonds. So these are the dyes and the gel dyes from Bronson. When we're talking about the gel dye, we have 8 fantastic shades. The first shade is deep black. This is a great shade. It leaves a very good tint on the skin. We can use it as is only for the eyelashes because it is not suitable for eyebrows. If I use deep black, number one, when I'm tinting the eyebrows, then I will use the deep black in order to provide a darker and colder shade. But when it comes to number one, I never mix the number one shade, the number five shade, because it gives me a very murky and a very weird tint that does not suit anyone. The second shade is number two, graphite. Now here, when we talk about graphite, this graphite is more beige brown. It's neutral, it's cold, it's very beautiful. It can be used as is on its own. For instance, when the clients are blonde, ash blonde, or have this sort of older blonde hair, we can use it in order to make the color more vivid, and it does not make the hair or the shade darker. Like number one, the deep black. The third shade is the blue black. Now, the blue black, we do not use on its own on the eyebrows. We only use it as is to tint the eyelashes. In combination with protein construction, blue black will look fantastic on your client's eyelashes. Do give it a try. I promise you, you'll be delighted. When it comes to eyebrows, I use blue black to neutralize the yellow tint. So for me, this tint is the same as the purple shampoo for blonde hair. It neutralizes the yellow pigment on the eyebrows. The next shade is chestnut. This is not the classic chestnut. This is a shade that gives us a very beautiful, a very neutral, darker blonde tint on the skin. I love it, and you can use it on its own. The next shade, and that's, by the way, a new shade. This is shade 4.1, and it is called red chestnut. Now, red chestnut uses red and orange hues. It is very beautiful, and you can also use it to neutralize the green tint on the skin. Also, this shade can be used for clients with red hair. You can mix it with shade number 5 or number 6, depending on the intensity of the desired tint. You can get the fire red eyebrows, which will be ideal for your clients who have red hair. Shade number 5. Shade number 5 is light brown. It is great on its own. It is a very pretty shade that we use very frequently. It is suitable for girls who have blonde hair, red hair, brown blonde hair, and it is a great shade that you can use on its own, or you can mix it with other shades. The next shade is number 6, brown. They're very beautiful. I love to mix it with graphite to get a very pretty result. And the last shade is number 7, dark brown. It gives us very beautiful, cold, very vivid tint on the skin. The only thing is when you have a very skinned client, it can turn into the sort of dirty green. So it needs to be neutralized with graphite, or you can use it on more tan skin or on darker skins. It will look really beautiful. So with these, let's peel back the film and let's check. It looks ideal. And the second composition is a miracle work. It adds volume to each hair, up to 30% of volume to each hair, and the effect will be noticeable even after the first procedure. Do you have any unpleasant sensations? No? That's fantastic. Well, we need to wait for a couple more minutes, and then we will remove the composition using a cotton swab or a dry cotton pad, whatever you like more. We will use a dry cotton pad following the direction of the hair. We will also correct the shape very gently with a brush. We need to wait for one more minute and then we can remove the composition. All looks good. I really love these baby brushes. They're super convenient to use, and unlike these big brushes, baby brush does not pick up a lot of the composition, and it allows you to apply the composition really well. This big brush collects up a lot of the composition, so I don't like it so much. Another thing that I really like to use, I love this brush from Innovator. So this is my application brush that I use to apply the composition. See, it's a tongue shaped or a leaf shaped brush. It is very nice to apply the composition, and it also allows you to lift up the hair slightly. All right. Now we need to remove the first composition. We lift up the film very gently. We never reuse the film. Now we take our new and clean baby brush so that we do not mix the compositions. I take a dry cotton pad and I gently remove the composition from the roots to the tips of the hair. From the roots to the tips. So I use these gentle and smooth motions to remove the composition. And as you can see, our eyebrows are now ready for the second composition. Now, the second composition is volume building. This is the composition that we're going to use for the second stage of application. So I make sure that I cover each of the hairs really well with the composition. As if I'm trying to fully penetrate each of the hair with the composition. And then I am going to put the film on top. See, I'm very careful to apply it to each one of the hairs, not to miss a single hair. Now, exposure time for the second composition is 20 minutes. It doesn't matter how long we applied the first composition for. The second composition is applied for 20 minutes, and then we're going to cover the eyebrows with a film. Okay, so now we start the countdown. Please close your eyes. And I would like to remind you that this composition, volume building, it adds up to 30% of volume to the hair. It nourishes the hair, it restores the hair, it makes the hair softer, more healthy, and smooth. Please put a plus sign on the chat if you can see me well, if you can hear me well. Let me know how it's going. And let me repeat it one more time about the first composition, just in case somebody missed this part. So, the exposure time of the first composition goes like this. If your client has very thin, very porous hair, then we expose the eyebrows to the composition for 15 minutes. If your client has medium thickness hair or hair that had chemical exposure before, then the time will be from 15 to 18 minutes. If you have dense, thick hair, chemically untreated, then it should be at least 20 minutes, not less than 20 minutes. Now, I remove the first composition using a dry cotton pad, and straight after that, I applied the second composition, volume building, and I covered the eyebrows with the plastic film. Please, after use, do close the bottles with the product, and you can use whatever you want to apply the product. I showed you a brush before, so this is a special application brush from Innovator Cosmetics. I really love this tongue-shaped or leaf-shaped brush. It is super convenient to use. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the cream dye. We already talked about the gel dye, but you probably already know about the cream dye, but let me tell you a little bit about it while we're waiting for the second composition. Now, when it comes to our shades, we have 7 wonderful shades. All of these shades give us a very velvety finish. These dyes really are appreciated by mature clients who also don't like very graphic design, but who like velvety finishes more. That's why our more mature clients love this dye a lot, and they always ask for it. So let's go through the shades. So the first shade is black. Very saturated shade, very deep black, and it is ideal for eyelash. You can also mix the number 1 shade black with other shades in order to make the color deeper and more saturated. The second shade is blue black, and this is ideal to be used on its own for eyelash tinting. After protein reconstruction, you can use the blue black and you'll be able to appreciate the results. You see how happy the clients will be with the results that they see in the mirror. Now, the third shade is number 3, graphite. Unlike the gel dye, the graphite shade in the cream dye is the ideal color of wet asphalt. It is very deep, very cold, very saturated, unlike graphite in the gel dye. I mix graphite with other shades because used on the tone it's very gray, and the clients are usually not happy with this tint of eyebrows when it comes to using it on eyebrows. That's why I always mix it. Shade number 4 is chestnut. Now, that is also a beautiful shade. It is very warm but neutral at the same time. It's great for dark blondes, lighter blondes, or chestnut colored clients. It can also be mixed, and I love it. Now, the next shade is light brown. It is number 5. It is a fantastic shade, and I always use it as is for blonde clients. It is ideal for clients with blonde hair, dark blonde hair. For clients with red hair, it gives us a very good tint on the skin. It's very light, very soft, and the cream dye does not make the hair darker, which is a great advantage. The next shade is number 6, brown. Now, this is an ideal shade for darker blonde, for brunettes, for darker blondes and red-haired clients. Shade number 6. This is the best dye that we have. It's dark brown chocolate or color of coffee. It is ideal for brunettes. It can be mixed with graphite. It can be mixed with black. It can be mixed with number 6, and it's absolutely fantastic. So now I'm going to brush the hair. I'm going to use a new micro brush. I'm going to use a new baby brush. So I'm going to gently lift up the film. And I'm going to brush the hairs up very gently. Look at this. It looks stunning. The hairs look thicker, noticeably nourished, much softer, and the hairs will be very smooth. Now, this treatment helps you maintain long-term perm and long-term lamination, and it is absolutely safe for your clients to use. Those of you who are with us for the theoretical part at the start, I would like to tell you that these compositions can correct unsuccessful lamination. They can correct unsuccessful long-term perms. They will restore the eyebrows and nourish the eyebrows of your clients. Protein reconstruction has become one of the most favorite procedures and treatments of my clients. By the way, we're going to use the cream dye for eyebrow tinting because when I look at my model, I have a feeling that a velvety, more natural tint will suit her better. And I think she'll be really beautiful if I use shade number 6, brown, and maybe add up a dash of graphite. That will be a fantastic combination for her. So these are the shades that I'm going to use. Number 6 will be my basic color. So I'll probably use about 80-90% of number 6 and about 10 to 20% of shade number 3 graphite just to add the depth to our tint. So we wait a bit longer. And dear colleagues, can you please post to the chat whether you had cases when, let's say, long-term perm didn't work out, or maybe when your clients came to you from some other master badly damaged or badly dehydrated hair, and you had no idea how to help them. Protein reconstruction is the ideal method to correct unsatisfying results of previous treatments. So please post your comments. I'll be very curious to hear your stories, whether that was something that happened to you and what did you do in order to remedy that. It's going to be time for us to remove the composition very, very soon. And I am going to use a dry cotton pad to remove the product. Is everything okay? How do you feel? Everything's okay? Now, always ask your client about their feelings or sensations that they experience, because they might be very shy and they might be sitting there very quietly. So do ask them. If you look at my model today, then you can see that she has rather short hair. So when it comes to long-term perm, I wouldn't recommend this for her. Our task here is to strengthen the hair, to make the hair healthier, denser, to grow the hair out a little bit. So for her, protein reconstruction is the ideal treatment. Is everything okay? I've already mentioned that today we're going to use our Botox composition. And we're going to use it after eyebrow tinting. The reason we use it after the tinting is because when we do Botox before the tinting, which of course can be done, you have to keep in mind that if you do the Botox before, then the tinting will be more delicate. It will be more transparent. It will be like a veil on the skin. And you have to take that into account. And then the exposure time will go down. So do not make the hair so darker, because the hairs become more sensitive to the dye after the Botox treatment. Dear colleagues, could you please post to the chat whether your clients like wider eyebrows or more narrow eyebrows? I'm very curious to find out things like this. Beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder, and maybe, you have different traditions. Okay, dear colleagues, we got some questions, and I'm going to answer the questions while we're waiting. So the first question is, how do we avoid burning the hair? Again, when you use protein reconstruction, there is zero chance for us to damage the hair, because this composition is very gentle on eyelashes and eyebrows. The next question: what should be the interval between the treatments so we do not damage the hairs? Well, since I just mentioned the question of damaging the hair, and I said that you cannot damage the hair with this procedure because it is full of nourishing components. So here we do not need to have such a long interval like have when we do long-term perm or eyelash lamination. So we can wait for about 1 month, and so your clients can come back 1 month after the first treatment, and they can do it on a monthly basis, because this treatment improves the condition of eyebrows and eyelashes. We got one more question from our audience, and it goes like this: can we combine lamination compositions with protein compositions? For instance, the first composition from long-term perm and the second is from protein reconstruction. No, you can do that. We have long-term perm, and we have special compositions for that. We have special compositions for protein reconstruction. Do not experiment. Follow the instructions. Follow the method. The next question. Protein reconstruction. Can it be used for eyebrows and eyelashes? Yes, it can. You can use this treatment for eyelashes and eyebrows. And now I'm going to remove the composition. For this, I have prepared a dry cotton pad. After I cleanse the area with a dry cotton pad, I'm going to use a saline solution. Again, I am moving from the roots to the tips of the hair, following the growth direction. And now I'm going to take my saline solution. I'm going to spray a little bit onto a cotton pad. Here it is, the saline solution. Let me tell you one more time, when this treatment is done on a regular basis, the client will not be able to recognize their eyebrows. Look at this effect. The hairs have become denser. They look much softer. And that is before we have applied the serum, and that is before we applied protein Botox. You can already see the results. I promise you, your clients will be super happy. Now I'm going to take my tweezers and pull out a couple of hairs. So I'm going to pull out a couple of hairs that are in the way. If your client's hair grow in the opposite direction, then we just pull them out. For this, you need tweezers with an angled and very sharp edge. So we take the hairs and pull them out. Do not forget about the area between the eyebrows. I have clients who really like a more natural, less styled shapes of their brows, and they come asking for a more natural effect. They are not so obsessed with a very distinct shape with very clear margins. Now everything looks good from my end. And now I am going to concentrate on the shaping of the eyebrows. Now, this is my favorite part. For me, it's like meditation. For this, I'm going to use my favorite brush from Innovator Cosmetics. So this is an angled brush. I love it. It allows me to draw with precision, and I'm going to use also a new angled brush to apply the cream dye. Now, this is my most favorite eyebrow paste, the brow henna. So this is the white eyebrow paste, and it leaves a very good mark on the skin. It is quite pigmented, so it gives a very good impression on the skin. But the most important thing is it does not get smeared across the face. So now I'm going to take up a little bit of the paste. Look at this, a tiny bit. I love very gentle, very exquisite lines. So I think this will be enough. And now I'm going to concentrate on the shape of the eyebrows. I'm going to mark the eyebrows here from the nostrils to the end of the eyelashes. Okay, that's the first point. Then from here, I'm following the midpoint of the eye, and this is the third point. That's the start of the eyebrows. So these are just the landmarks for me, so I can see the future shape clearly. You can also mark the center between the eyebrows, so you can do whatever you're used to doing. It's all fine. Now I'm going to connect the dots, but the most important thing is if you want to get an ideal shape of the eyebrows, and I'm going to show you this, and I take a ruler, and here I have the first point. This is the second point. Point A and point B. Now, for your eyebrows, not to sink down, not to become sad, not so they do not make the eyelids heavier, so the eyebrows lift up the eyes and the face. We need to make sure that the root of the eyebrow, is a bit lower than the tip of the eyebrow. So this point A is either at the same level as point B, or ideally point B should be a little bit higher than point A. Point A is the root of the eyebrow and point B is the tip of the eyebrow. Now with this, I'm going to draw the shape. You just lift up your chin a little bit. So here I'm going to mark where the eyebrow starts. Now always make sure that the line goes straight. So there's no curving, no tipping. The line goes straight up until the natural curve of the eyebrow. So you put the brush gently, make a line, and you lift it up. So it's basically like tapping brush, and make a bit of a gap between the hairs of the eyebrow. That will give you a much better shape. Now this technique, when you press the brush and lift it up, that technique always gives you a wonderful eyebrow shape from the first go. I'm going to do the same with the second eyebrow. Since I started from here, I'm going to also start from the center. I also do it with the same technique, tap and lift, and move to the side. So see, this gives us a very good shape from the get-go. And now I'm going to do the top of the eyebrow, and then I'm going to work a little bit more on the shape. You see, now the brush is all clean, and this is the secret of an ideal eyebrow shape. So you just take the tiniest amount of paste, just the very tip of the brush. Do not put a lot of paste on the brush because that will just smear it across your client's face and you will never get what you want. Now, we do it in parallel to the lower line and we're working on the upper line. Again, I'm making sure that I have the desired volume. So make sure that your arm is not hanging in the air. Make sure there is some support under your arm so you feel the eyebrow shape of your client. Even here, you see, I lower it a little bit so that we do not give this beautiful girl unnecessary volume. Now the same we're gonna do with the other eyebrow. Now you see, I need to take up a little bit more paste onto the brush. And now I'm going to lower the line. I'm using the same tapping motions to lower the tip of the brow. So let's see, we have very pretty lines here. We've marked out the future shape of the eyebrow. Now I'm going to clean the same brush and using the micellar aqua, I'm going to remove the excess lines. So I've already dabbed the brush onto the cotton pad soaked with micellar aqua and I'm going to clean up these lines. Cleaning up the extra paste. So I'm moving the excess paste of the skin so that the client can see the shape of their eyebrows. Now pay special attention into the inner part and remove all of the excess paste of the eyebrows. Make sure that no paste ends up in the eyebrow. Please do post your comments onto the chat. Do you like this shape? Do you like how I mark up the shape? I'm very curious to see. So see, I'm cleaning the eyebrows from the inside. And see, when I'm cleaning, I'm holding the brush here. I'm directing the brush downward. And the angled edge of the brush all is always pointing to the nose. So this side like this. And then look, I'm turning the brush around and the angled side is always pointing toward the nose. So I'm going to clean up here inside of the line. Here I cannot hold the brush pointing down and I am bringing the tip a bit to the side. So that's how it is. And now let's do the tinting. I'm going to mix the shade. Oh, let me compare to make sure that the length of the eyebrows is the same. Okay, yeah, looks very good. I'm going to mix the shades. I'm mixing shade number 6 and a little bit of shade number 3. I'm using cream dyes from BRONSUN, and I'm going to use this to mix the shades so that you see the proportion. I am going to use this BRONSUN milk, and I'm going to use the milk cream developer 3%, and the ratio is 3 to 1. When it comes to shade number 6, it's going to make up about 80 or 90%. And shade number 3, I only need a little bit of it to make the shade a bit colder and to make the tint more saturated. Just a tiny bit. I'm going to show you the ratio that I use for mixing my dyes. Here you go. Look at this. Here on the bottom, you have graphite, and here on the top, we have the brown. So this is the ratio that you need to maintain. You could even add a little bit more graphite, I think. Let me do just that so that our shade is a bit deeper and a bit more saturated. Just a little bit, just a tiny bit more. So this is the mixing ratio I got. Graphite on top and brown on the bottom. So first I'm going to mix the shades so I get the desired color. And then I'm going to use the milk cream developer. So the dye has no smell, which is great. And see, I'm using this brush from Innovator Cosmetics. This is a tongue brush or the leaf brush. I'm using it to mix everything together, and I mix really thoroughly. And then I'm going to wait just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to apply it. Now I'm going to tell you how to apply the cream dye correctly so that we get the desired result if you want a good tint on the skin. So the mix is ready. I mixed it really well. And now I'm gonna leave it be for, I don't know, a couple of seconds. I'm going to use a brush, but a different brush, not the brush that I used for the markup. I'm gonna use a brush to apply the dye. Now our mix has changed the color a little bit. See, it became a bit darker, a bit more saturated. So now I'm taking a new angled brush and I will apply the dye to the eyebrows. Now the most important rule is when you're working with cream dye, just like when you're working with the gel dye, you apply it in a very, very thin layer like watercolor. So we tap it into the skin very gently, and we have to remember that the exposure time will be reduced to 2 or maybe 5 minutes. Now I'll Keep it on the brows for about 5 minutes. And then we'll see the results. Very thin layer. We're gonna have a very pretty shade. Do not apply a very thick layer. If you apply a very thick layer, then the skin will not absorb the tint, but we do need some tint on the skin. Maybe your client wants to have more saturated eyebrows, so I'm applying a thin layer and I'm paying special attention to the tip of the eyebrow. So first I work with the bottom line and then I'm going to apply the dye onto the top line of the eyebrow. I am going for the gradient effect. Now I'm going to apply the dye onto the second eyebrow. Very thin layer. Remember, please, the layer needs to be thin. And then we're gonna have a very beautiful result. Please post your comments onto the chat. Please tell me, have you heard about the new product from BRONSUN? Have you heard about the cream dye? Maybe some of you have even tried using it. What do you think about it? Or would you like to try this dye in your work? Please do let me know in the comments. It is very important for us to get feedback from you because we love our audience. We love you guys with all of our hearts. So I'm going to spread the dye a little bit upwards. Well, look at that first eyebrow. It's gone darker. Now I'm going to apply the dye to the top part of the eyebrow, also using a very thin layer, like applying watercolor. For me, the simplest way to dye the eyebrows is to use this frame approach. First, I apply the dye onto the lower part and the upper part of the eyebrows. These are the problem areas. Sometimes we have gaps in the hair there. And then I am going to fill into the eyebrow, to the body of the eyebrow. And see, I'm tapping the dye with the brush. Then I am going to move towards the root of the eyebrow. Now do post classes on the chat if you like this shape. I love this shape. That's one of my favorites. And I do hope that you'll find something useful here. Maybe you'll even use my technique in shaping the eyebrows. You know, that is a technique that works really well and it saves up a lot of time, and that's very important. Now, I pay special attention to the tip of the eyebrow. I make sure that I fill in all of the gaps. See, I'm holding the eye brush at the top and I'm tapping the dye into the eyebrow. Now I'm going to work on the body of the eyebrow, going to fill in all of the gaps. And now I'm going to use this stretching motion. And see the dye has already oxidized. It's gone darker. And now we can really see everything. Now let's do the second eyebrow. Can you lift up your chin a bit, please? Now the cream dye, you need to work a little bit faster with the cream dye. The cream dye is very useful in our work. It gives a completely different effect compared to the gel dye, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. The most important thing is applying it in a very thin layer. Avoid applying very thick dots of the dye. And if you apply it thinly, then you'll get the same effect that you see on social media, that you see in the posts by top eyebrow masters. And that's something that we all want to achieve. Oh, it's looking beautiful. Now I'm moving to the start of the brow, and then we're going to wait for 4, maybe 5 minutes, and then we're going to remove the dye. Don't worry, I didn't forget about this part. I'm going to apply the dye here as well. So you see I've already created a bit of a gradient here, and here I'm going to correct the shape a little bit. When it comes to the shape of the eyebrows, I'm going to correct it using the brush that I used for my markup. So I'm going to remove the excess dye. I hope you can see it. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Oh, look at this. This is a really beautiful, really noble shade. Now we have to wait for 4 or 5 minutes, and then we will remove the dye. Now, while we're waiting for the exposure, I am going to fill in the gaps. So even if you have a little bit of dye outside of your eyebrow, outside of your marking, you can just remove it. Just do it very carefully. See how I'm doing it? We always remove the excess dye. First, I'm going to use a wet cotton swab to remove the dye. And this is just a wet cotton swab. I just put some water on it. And here you see I'm going to remove a little bit from here so we do not have such a defined start of the brow. And it gives us a very beautiful gradient that always looks expensive. It always looks very stylish. And that is something that all of our clients love. Here I'm gonna clean it really well. And we're gonna wait for 3 more minutes. Do you feel any stinging? No? Good. So we have 2 minutes left. And then we're going to remove the dye. After we remove the dye, we're going to apply a protein botox. Then we will remove that and we will proceed with the last stage of our protein reconstruction, which will be the serum that promotes the growth of new hair, that nourishes the hair, that will maintain the color, provide nourishing ingredients. Now I'm going to remove the dye using filtered water and cotton pads. I'm going to remove the dye. Look at this. It's a wow effect. Look at this beautiful tinting. Look how well it matches the hair color. And see how it looks on the skin. It's very delicate. It's exquisite. I love it. Please tell me what you think in the comments. I really, really want to hear what you think. I want to get your feedback. But look at this. Look how wonderful it is on this model. Well, to get these results, we always need to learn. We'll need to love what we're doing. I am so happy with this. And look at the hairs, the eyebrow hairs. They look so nourished. This dye leaves a very good tint on the skin, but it does not make the hair darker. Although we did use a very intensive shade, it was shade number 6, quite a saturated shade. Now I'm going to use a clean cotton pad to make sure that I've removed all of the dye. Beautiful. Please turn your head from side to side. Wow. Now, dear friends, dear colleagues, we're going to apply our protein botox. Here you see the bottle. You need to warm it up for about 2.5 minutes. I mean, it's not mandatory. It depends how you like using it. I'm not going to warm it up too much, maybe just warm it up for 30 seconds, and I'm going to apply it for about 7 minutes. And then again, it depends on the state of the eyebrow hairs of your client. My model here has very thin hair, so I think for her, 5 or 7 minutes will be all right. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you, look at this. You can take the cap off so that you can work with a pipette. Now I'm going to apply the botox onto a glass dish. Here it is, look. Now I take my favorite leaf brush from Innovator Cosmetics. This is the brush. And I'm going to apply our protein botox onto the eyebrow. And since we've already tinted the eyebrows, we are going to take some of the botox off, but not all of it. Let it stay on, let it keep nourishing the eyebrows. So that's how I'm going to apply it. And I'm going to cover it with the plastic film. So I've applied the botox. Now I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap. I'm going to put it on for about 5 minutes. And then later I will remove it with a dry cotton pad. And then I'm going to apply the serum, which is in bottle number 3. And that will be that. So please tell me what you think. Please post your comments. Do you like the shape? Do you like the color? Please share with me what are your favorites mixes. So if you use the BRONSUN gel dyes, look at the hair color. Maybe you can come up with um, mix of shades. Maybe you can share your mix recipe with your colleagues so they can try it out in their work. So please give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. We have about 4 minutes left. So I was telling you about protein botox. Now, protein botox is an additional stage in eyebrow and eyelash restoration. It is used for additional care, moisturizing and nourishing eyelashes and eyebrows. Now, the composition replenishes the damaged hair, and using protein botox, so the eyelashes and eyebrows look denser and have more volume. Protein botox gives you a gradual effect which increases with each use. It does not need to be diluted in water. You do not need to take it off. It is suitable for daily care routine. So you can take care of your eyelashes and eyebrows at home. And now I'm going to take a baby brush and I am going to apply the growth serum. Now, the growth serum activates the growth of new hair. It allows to maintain the eyebrow tint, and it has a lot of nourishing components. This is the growth serum, and I'm going to apply it using a baby brush. I'm gonna take up a small amount onto the brush. See, tiny amount. I'm gonna dab it onto my glove here so I do not make the skin look greasy. Then, look, I'm gonna bend my baby brush like so. And I'm applying it onto the eyebrow here. Now I'm going to brush the eyebrows, each hair from the root to the tip. So I'm brushing it through from the root to the tip of the hair, and I'm gonna do the same with the second eyebrow. This serum can be used every day. It allows us to maintain the hair tint. You can offer it to your clients as part of their daily care routine that will make the eyebrows thicker, healthier, more nourished. We need to take care of our eyebrows, so it should be a part of our daily beauty routine. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this effect. It's beautiful. N- Now we can use a dry cotton swab to remove the excess serum so that the skin around the eyebrows is not shiny. And look at this. Your clients will have very healthy eyebrows. Now, each time you do this procedure, your eyebrows will get better and better. Beautiful. Please post to the chat whether it was interesting for you. Maybe you learned something new. What are your impressions? Look at this. It's breathtaking. Okay, let's talk a bit more about protein reconstruction. Let's summarize what we've learned and we'll answer your questions. Okay, let's answer your questions. We got a question. After long-term perm, my client's eyebrow hair curled up a bit. Can the eyebrow reconstruction address this issue? Oh, yes, it can. It restores the eyebrows and eyelashes really well, especially after unsuccessful lamination or long-term perm. The next question. During protein reconstruction, can we use both the cream dye and the gel dye, or how do we choose? which dye to use. Now, let me release our model, and I'll come to the camera to answer your questions. So I'm here. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here again. So I got this question from you. Can I use gel dye and cream dye during protein reconstruction? How do I choose the right type of dye? Yes, after the protein reconstruction, you can choose either the cream dye or the gel dye. Now, how do you choose the dye? If your client is into more graphic, more vivid eyebrows, then you use the gel dye. And if your clients have more sebaceous skin, oily skin, then the gel dye will be better than the cream dye. Now, cream dye is better for more velvet, more natural finish. Now, the next question. During the protein reconstruction, sorry. So, what are your most frequently used mixes of cream dye? I really love to mix shade 5 and shade 6, 50-50. It gives us a very warm, a very natural dark blonde color. I really love the mix of number 6 and number 2. We get a very cold, very saturated blonde, just like we did with our model. And I use the ratio of 10 to 90% or 20 to 80%. What is your favorite product from the BRONSUN hair line? Well, I love protein pots. I love the effect that I get, how it works with the skin, the effect it produces on the hair. I also love the conditioner, which we apply after eyebrow tinting. It stops the reaction and it stabilizes the tints really well, especially if we're using gel dyes. It moisturizes the skin and the hair. Therefore, the conditioner is the best, especially it's the best product to use after henna because henna dries up the skin and the hair a little bit. So use the conditioner to moisturize. I really love the gel dye. When it comes to gel dye, I use it for 90% of my clients. My clients love the gel dye because it gives very stable results, very long lasting results. It gives us wonderful shades, light, dark tone, very saturated, very vivid shades. So I love it. But I am a real fan of all of the products made by Innovative Cosmetics. I love this brand and I have everything that they make, and I use everything that they offer. They have fantastic brushes. They have these wonderful makeup base. I've tried it before. Do try it. Make sure you try it. If you haven't tried the white paste, please to try it and tell me later what you think about it. One more question. So this procedure is portion, so it doesn't damage the hair so much. Yes, this is a very nourishing procedure. So do not be afraid to use it even for the damaged hair because it improves the condition of the hair. So, dear colleagues, please try it out. Test the new products and improve your skills to make your clients happy. To make your clients very happy with good quality, long lasting results. So your clients only go for their appointments to you. And I think I answered all of the questions for you. And I do hope that you found today's event really useful. And now let me just give you an announcement. Our next broadcast will be on the 7th of December, you'll meet up with a new speaker. There'll be new knowledge. You'll get new inspiration. So we'll be happy to see all of you on the 7th of December at our next live broadcast. I was very happy to be with you today. And I would like to wish all of you to be creative, have a lot of clients. I would like to wish all of us to increase our prices. Today we live in a world that offers us a lot of opportunities to become better, to become the best, so that we can make our clients very happy. We can give them the best eyebrows and the best eyelashes. Well, I do advise you to work with protein reconstruction. It will increase your profits, and this is a really cool treatment. Every time you use this treatment, you will improve the condition of your client's eyebrows, which is very, very important. Dear friends, I think that's it for today. Have a great day. Have a great evening tonight. And I hope I'll see you soon. Bye bye.